All right, good morning, everyone. Senators, if you could please take your seats. The sergeant could please secure the doors. Madam Clerk, if you could please call the roll.
Mr. President.
We are pleased today to be joined by Pastor Greg St. Cyr, who is a friend of the Senate, has been with us every year. He is at Bay Area Christian Community Annapolis, in Annapolis, Maryland, guest of the distinguished senator from District 33. Members, please rise for the invocation.
It's a great joy for me to pray with you today. My only regret is that I'm not there personally to be with you. I want to lead us in prayer around the topic of love. Love in the Old Testament refers to God's steadfast, loyal devotion to us. And in the New Testament, it refers to the sacrificial, unconditional commitment to seek the greatest good of the other person. So let's pray along those lines. Father, I thank you that you are the God of love, and you have a great love for each and every one of us. I pray now for all of the senators that you would fill them with a heart of love today. Help them to know of your steadfast, loyal devotion to them. And I pray that their highest desire, their highest calling today would be to seek the greater good of others. Help us not to be self-centered or selfish, but help us to really be motivated by what's in the best interest of others and of our state. We commit this day to you, asking you to fill us with love and wisdom. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Chair recognizes the senator from 33rd District.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move that the prayer be journalized.
Without objection, so ordered. Looked like the good pastor had a nice camera. He had some good resolution on that picture today. All right, so we got a few folks that are coming in, that some last-minute test clearing happening. Has everyone recorded their presence? It's almost here. All right, the clerk will take the call. With 41 members in the chamber, the Senate of Maryland is now in session. All right, announcements. Any announcements? I will pass along one. Senators, you should notice on your desk today, we got a little bit tied up in the USPS mail struggles that unfortunately have continued a bit. But you will see masks that are personalized, so you should have them on your desks. And hopefully, we had to do some testing and beta testing to make sure that we found some that would work. We thought this was the best brand out there, so hopefully you find them worthwhile and of the dignity of the Senate of Maryland. So we were hoping to have them by the first day, but we got them by the second week. So we'll take what we can get. So that is the first announcement. Also, to the good senator from Baltimore County, we received one doubling mask personalized, and one was missing. So from the senator from Baltimore County, we apologize that it is not personalized. We will make sure that it comes at a later point. We've reordered it. It will be here as quickly as possible. All right, any other announcements? Yes. Chair recognizes the senator from Middle Eastern Shore.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have pages with us, but not in the usual way we have been used to. So this year the PAGE program is virtual, and though we will miss seeing the students here in Annapolis, they are with us virtually. This week there are 19 students representing 18 districts, including 16 counties and Baltimore City, zooming around the legislature. During the week they will be listening and watching the work being done in both chambers, in committee bill hearings, engaging in discussions with legislators and staff, preparing for mock bill hearings, and reaching out to their district representatives. Please join me in welcoming week 3 pages. Now, we are not going to be reading those 19 names today, but we will share those. My co-protocol chair will share those with me on Friday to say goodbye, and we will pick up the earlier students as we go through the session. So please join with me now in welcoming the Week 3 pages. Thank you.
We thank the pages who are watching us virtually. Again, it's a 2020, 2021 make it work situation. We're glad these seniors who are incredibly talented and bright, they couldn't be here today, but we're going to find a way to make sure that they get some sort of experience that's worthwhile. Any further announcements? And as we get moving today, we're going to sort of shake the rust off a bit and get into some of our second readers. Please make sure to hit the button that's the Talk to Speak button when you are, should any member have a question, just because it is a little bit difficult to see. So if you could please make sure to use the Talk to Speak, or Request to Speak. All right, if there's no further announcements, let's get into the work. First, we've got some bill introductions. It looks like we're over 500. We're getting close to that 600 mark, so we are doing well. Clerk will read the first calendar.
Senate Bill 532, Senator Kramer, Financial Institution, Consumer Credit, Sales-Based Financing, Transactions, Finance.
Majority Leader moves so be considered the reading of the bills. Clerk will read the next calendar.
Senate Bill 567, the President, Telehealth Services, Expansion, Finance. Senate Bill 568, the President, Healthcare Practitioners, Telehealth, Out-of-State Healthcare Practitioners, EHE.
Majority Leader moves so be considered the reading of the calendar. The next order of business. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's strike that. We have to, for calendar 16, Senators, this is again, 2021 session. The 13th day of session was yesterday. Bills from the administration were supposed to have been introduced by the 13th day. Seeing that we were not here on the 13th day, we have to suspend Rule 32 in order to have these bills introduced. So the chair recognizes the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would move that we suspend Rule 32D to the administration bills go straight to the appropriate standing policy committee.
The Majority Leader moves that we suspend Rule 32 so that these bills can go directly to the committee. Are there any objections to the Senator's motion? Without objection, the motion passes. Madam Clerk, if we could please read the calendar again.
Senate Bill 567, the President, Telehealth Services, Expansion, Finance.
Majority Leader moves so will be considered the reading of the bills. So these bills will now go directly to committee, not going through the Rules Committee. All right, next we have Senate bond initiatives. Clerk will read the calendar.
Introductory Senate bond initiatives number 3. Senator Elrith, Stanton Community Center, B&T. Senator Elrith, Powell Parkfield, B&T.
While we have some time, the chair recognizes the chair of the Capital Committee, potentially, if there are updates about changes for the LBIs. Nope. Okay. All right, then we'll go ahead and move forward. Next, we've got a reassignment. The clerk will read the announcement.
In accordance with Rule 33D, the following legislation has been reassigned as indicated below. Senate Bill 477, Senator McCray. Enric Pratt Free Library, operating hours and funding reassigned to budget and taxation.
All right, without objection, the announcement is read and adopted. Senate Bill 477 will be reassigned to budget and tax. All right, we are on to our first committee reports of the year. Looks like we don't have finance here. Let's start with Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs. We'll start with report number 1. The clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 67, Emergency Medical Services, Paramedics, Vaccination Administration, favorable with 4 amendments.
Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the Senator from Montgomery County as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 67 is now proposed as an emergency bill. We all know that one of the biggest challenges facing our country is not just COVID, but distributing vaccines and getting them into arms. This bill will enable paramedics to use to give vaccines to folks as needed. We wanted to make sure that it is limited. We put a sunset on it as one of the amendments, and we made it a few years down the road so that we can come back to it. This was a departmental bill from MIMS, the Maryland Institute for Emergency Medical Systems, and was supported by the committee 10-1. Supported by MACO, the Maryland Association of Counties, and gives some flexibility and the authority for our paramedics to offer vaccines. The 4 amendments: the first adds co-sponsors and makes technical changes. The second permits paramedics to administer vaccines approved for emergency use by the Food and Drug Administration. The third is a technical change to the title of the position just for clarification purposes. And the fourth, as I said, makes the bill an emergency measure so that we can get it going right away, and it adds a sunset provision terminating the bill on July 1st, 2024. Move the favorable report as amended.
Floor Leader moves to the adoption of 4 committee amendments in the favorable committee report. Question first is on the amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 67 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 125, State Board of Chiropractic Examiners, sunset extension, favorable.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. Senate Bill 125 is a departmental bill that calls for a sunset extension for chiropractic examiners. It pushes us back 10 years. There are no amendments. Move adoption of favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 125 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 141, State Board of Public Accountancy, Education Requirements, Obsolete References, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from Charles County as the floor leader.
Mr. President, Senate Bill 141, State Board of Public Accountancy Education Requirements. It repeals some obsolete references to accredited organization and update the names for those current authorized. This bill does not alter the accrediting standards currently in place. We move for the favorable report to be accepted.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 141 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 247, State Board of Podiatric Medical Examiners, sunset extension, favorable.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the chair.
Members of the Senate, thank you. Senate Bill 247 is another sunset extension. This one for podiatric medical examiners. It also pushes it back 10 years. There are no amendments. Move adoption of favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 247 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 262, Department of Information Technology, study of a common information technology platform for health occupation boards. Senator Eckhart.
Chair recognizes Senator from Howard and Baltimore counties as the floor leader.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 262 is a bill that falls under kind of good government and being able to streamline processes for the health occupations boards. There's 20 health occupations board, and what the bill does is require the Department of Information Technology to review the IT platforms being used by each board, including the administrative functions of each board and its operating systems, and then 2, to make recommendations on the feasibility and the cost of developing a common standardized platform for each board. And the department then must submit their recommendations and findings to the General Assembly on December 1st, 2021. There are no committee amendments. Move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 262 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. The clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 310, Election Law, Campaign Finance Entities, Termination, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from Baltimore City as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. Senate Bill 310, Election Law, Campaign Finance Entities, is addressing the campaign finance entities' termination requirements. There's some ambiguity in the current law, and it sets 2 deadlines. One, the report must be filed when the end of the individual's most recent term of office, and 2, the date of the election in which the individual last campaign entity report was found within that period. There are no committee amendments. There's no fiscal impact. This bill has been requested by the State Board, and it was voted unanimously by the committee, and I move for favorable adoption of the committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 310 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Let's go to the next Education, Health, Environmental Affairs report. Number 2, clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 342, Maryland Military Department, Sale of Superfluous Armories, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the vice chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Maryland has over 40 armories around the state, and this would enable us to modify and comply with federal law in order to give best practices and best favorable financial options to our cities and counties that may want to buy them. It's technical. It was a departmental bill. There are 2 amendments. The first one is technical, and the second one clarifies that the Department of Planning is the agency that has the responsibility under current law for dealing with this real property. Move the bill, the favorable report as amended.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of 2 committee amendments in the favorable committee report. Question first is on the amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 342 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 343, Natural Resources, Shrimp Fishery, Licensing and Regulation, favorable.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. This is a small bill that creates a shrimp fishery in Maryland for the first time. We're seeing more and more shrimp in the bay, and so the department came to us and said they want to create a shrimp fishery. So we think it's a great idea. So we move the bill without amendments. Move favorable.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Mr. Chairman, is that a positive sign? More shrimp in the bay? Is that a positive sign? That
yes, I believe so. Although it could be warming as well.
Yeah, interesting. All right, questions on the adoption of the favorable committee report? Any discussion? Not all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 343 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 349, Environment, Drinking Water Revolving Loan Fund, Use of Funds, favorable.
Chair recognizes Vice Chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a departmental bill to comply with EPA requirements. We are out of compliance, and it will make it easier to get better, more favorable funding for improving our drinking water. There were no committee amendments. Move the favorable report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 349 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 350, Natural Resources, Aquaculture Leases.
Chair recognizes
Favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. This too is a departmental bill that repeals provisions governing aquaculture enterprise zones, which were basically closed in 2019. It puts in place enterprise leases, and this is for cultivating aquatic plants for commercial purposes. It's plants, not fish. There are 2 amendments. First one is technical. The second one specifies that it can only be used for native and naturalized plant species to ensure we don't get out-of-state, out-of-country kind of species being grown in our waters. So move adoption of the 2 committee amendments, favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of 2 committee amendments in the favorable committee report. Question first is on the amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amended report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 350 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 352, Agricultural Multiflora Rose Management Repeal. Favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from District 35 as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 352 is a departmental bill from the Department of Agriculture. The bill repeals provisions that make multiflora rose a nuisance weed that must be managed. Multiflora rose is an invasive, thorny shrub native to Asia that can grow 15 feet tall. MDA advises that the state's agriculture industry has this multiflora rose contained under control, making the current law no longer necessary. Also, in a recent session, we passed legislation that gave MDA some flexibility, moving these weeds on and off of this noxious weed list, so this pertains to this bill as well. So I would move for adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 352 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. EHE wins the award for first bills through to third reader thus far. Congratulations. All right, next up we have judicial proceedings. Report number 1. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 109, Secretary of State, address confidentiality programs, merger of programs, and expanded participant eligibility. Favorable.
Chair recognizes the minority whip as the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Currently, the Secretary of State runs a program for victims of domestic violence. It's called the Address Confidentiality Program. What it simply does is you can have your mail and documents forwarded to the Secretary of State's office. It allows you to shield your address from a domestic violence perpetrator. I think somebody's phone's gone off there. This departmental bill simply merges 2 existing address confidentiality programs that are administered by the Secretary of State into a single program, so it's domestic violence victims and victims of human trafficking. It expands program eligibility to include survivors of threatened or attempted or actual domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, harassment, human trafficking, and individuals who reside in the same household as an eligible applicant. It expands the evidence that applicant may provide. Basically, it makes it easier for someone to apply and to get into the program. So we basically lowered the evidentiary threshold so more people could take advantage of the program. And then 4, it authorizes instead of requires Secretary of State to cancel program participation. So again, these all came to Secretary of State basically to merge the program, to make it better, to get more people in it and keep more people in the program, to keep more people safe. There are no committee amendments, so I would move the favorable adoption of the committee report.
All right, floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 109 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 132, inspection of public records, notaries public, disclosure of home address, and phone numbers. Favorable.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good to see you from behind here. So Senate Bill 132 essentially allows for the 90,000 notaries in Maryland to have their records, their home addresses shielded. So right now, if there's a public information request, they have to disclose their home address. This simply allows for them to substitute that for a business address as opposed to their home address. The Secretary of State came in favor of this bill. It's a departmental bill because they wanted to shield and protect the privacy of the 90,000 notaries in the state of Maryland. There are no amendments. I'd move adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 132 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 212, State Government Notaries Public Official Stamp of a Notary Public favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from Baltimore City and County, and the chair appreciates the senator hitting the speak to talk button. Senator may proceed.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, Senate Bill 212 is a very simple departmental bill which clarifies the information that must be included in an official stamp of a notary public. The committee's vote was unanimous. Mr. President, I move adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 212 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 222, Juveniles Charged as Adults, Study and Confinement, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from Baltimore City as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This departmental bill essentially makes numerous changes to the statutory provisions that govern the process and requirements for pretrial detention of juveniles charged as adults. The bill basically presumes that juveniles that are under the age of 18 that are charged as adults and not charged as adults will be detained in secure juvenile facilities. It does retain judicial discretion for exceptions when the judge believes that's warranted. The bill also requires a study at the outset of a case which will speed up the process for juvenile waiver hearings. It also requires that the decisions that are made be made in writing in the case. And finally, it's really required so that Maryland can be in compliance with the Federal Juvenile Justice Act. And so there are no committee amendments. The bill passed the committee unanimously. I move the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 222 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 267, Family Law, Investigation of Suspected Child Abuse and Neglect, Preliminary Report to State's Attorney, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 27th District as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President, colleagues. This bill is a department bill. It repeals the requirement for a local Department of Social Services and law enforcement agency to report within 10 days after receiving the first notice of suspected child abuse that is alleged to have occurred in this state. The preliminary findings of the investigation to the local state's attorney. The bill has no amendments, and I move for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader move. Yes, please. Well, welcome to the Senate, Senator. No questions? I was waiting for the question. Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 267 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. It's a little bit of a difference between the Senate and the House. Brand new member is up doing a floor report in the first week. It's the greatest job in the world being a senator in the Senate of Maryland. All right, next one is JPR calendar number 2. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 118, Correctional Services Warrant Apprehension Unit Transfer, favorable.
And again, the chair recognizes the senator from the 27th District.
Thanks, Mr. President, colleagues. This is also a departmental bill. It codifies the transfer of the Warrant Apprehension Unit from the Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services from the Division of Parole and Probation to the Intelligence and Investigative Division. This authorizes and requires that the warrant apprehension unit, for the warrant apprehension unit, not to be changed by the bill. No committee amendments, and we ask for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 118 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 181, Corporations and Associations, Trade Names, Certificates, Requirements, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 42nd District as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. As amended, this departmental bill requires a business filing a trade name certification with the State Department of Assessments and Taxation to disclose the identification number assigned by STAT for the associated business. There were 2 amendments. One is technical, and the second eliminates from the bill a provision prohibiting STAT from accepting a certificate if the associated business is not in good standing with the department. The bill was unopposed. It passed unanimously from the committee. I move the favorable adoption of the 2 amendments as well as the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. Question first is on the amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the adoption of the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the favorable committee report as amended, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 181 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 291, Motor Vehicle Offenses Following Too Closely, Unified Truck Travel, favorable.
Yes, Chair recognizes the senator from Hartford County as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, technology now allows us to do what's called truck platooning, and that means that a line of heavy tractor trailers can actually move in a coordinated fashion through technology, where the lead tractor trailer's braking system and acceleration system determine the entire platoon, that all the other trucks behind that are connected via electronics. This is being done currently in 25 states. More states are in testing, and both Virginia and Pennsylvania allow for this. So in order to allow this, of course, you have to pass a law that says these vehicles can follow closer than would otherwise be the case. The purpose of truck platooning is both for saving of fuel and safety purposes. So all this law says that you can follow more closely if you're in a platoon. It also provides that the MVA has to introduce new regulations controlling when, where, this, and under what circumstances truck platooning will be allowed in Maryland. There were no committee amendments. I move the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report on platooning. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 291 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 320, Foreign Corporations, Resident Agents, State Department of Assessments and Taxation, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 42nd District as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This departmental bill authorizes an out-of-state corporation to certify that the State Department of Assessments and Taxation is the corporation's resident agent in Maryland when registering or qualifying to do business in Maryland. There were no amendments. The bill was unopposed. It passed 10-1 in our committee. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 320 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Let's go to JPR report number 3. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 145, Family Law Preventing or Interfering with Report of Suspected Child Abuse of a Child. Statute of Limitations. Senator Huff, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from Frederick County as the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This bill just simply establishes that an individual who intentionally prevents or interferes with the making of a report of suspected sexual abuse of a child by a mandatory reporter may be prosecuted at any time for the violation. So this does not create a new crime. It just simply removes the statute of limitations, which is 3 years. So now you can go back whenever criminally and charge someone. So if they prevent or stop the reporting of sexual abuse of a child, they're now criminally liable for the rest of their lives. And there are no committee amendments. I'd move favorable adoption of the report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 145 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 156, Public Safety, Law Enforcement, Veterinary Care of Retired Law Enforcement, K-9s Act. Senator Kramer, favorable.
Floor leader recognizes, or excuse me, chair recognizes the senator from the 27th district as the floor leader.
Thanks, Mr. President, colleagues. The bill requires a state or local law enforcement agency that removes a publicly owned dog used in law enforcement work from duty to reimburse an individual who takes possession of the dog as specified for reasonable and necessary veterinary treatment provided to the dog. The bill establishes limits on the amount of reimbursement and allows the state and local law enforcement agencies to accept donations to meet the bill's requirements. There are no committee amendments, and we move for the favorable adoption of the committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 156 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 208, Vehicle Laws, Manufacturers and Dealers, Prices listed on dealer websites. Senator Huff, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from Frederick County as the floor leader.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. President. It's a pretty simple bill. We actually had it last year on the Senate floor, and we actually passed it unanimously. Simply deals with auto dealers and the prices that they list on their website. So auto dealers own and operate their own websites. And this just says that a manufacturer cannot take an adverse action or coerce them to list a price other than what they want to list for the car. So, for example, right now, many people are going out, instead of going to the actual physical showrooms, they're going online. This is just the truth in advertising, because many times manufacturers will require or want them to list a price above what they want them to sell the car. So we just want to pass this to say, especially now, actually we passed it last year before COVID, but now with COVID and everything else, it's all the more important that people get the actual price they're going to buy a car for if they're shopping virtually. There are no committee amendments, and I move the favorable adoption of the bill.
The floor leader moves for the
second reading.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Chair recognizes the senator from Baltimore County.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I would like to special order this bill, please.
To what time, Senator?
Till 2 days from now.
Friday?
Yes.
Friday.
That's fine. I'm confused
no
about
objections.
days.
Without objections, the bill will be special ordered to the appropriate time on Friday. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 265, Estates and Trusts, Maryland Revised Uniform Anatomical Gift Act revisions. Senator Wallstreicher, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 18th District as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Maryland Revised Uniform Anatomical Gift Act is our organ donation statute. And from time to time, we need to come back and update the law to reflect best practices in the field. This has no amendments. There was no opposition. Mr. President, I move the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Questions on the report? Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 265 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 309, Handgun Permit, preliminary approval. Senator Huff, favorable.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill passed committee unanimously for the last 3 years, and it passed the Senate unanimously for the last 3 years. Essentially, the bill allows a person to apply for preliminary approval from the Maryland State Police before they apply to gain that preliminary approval, before they apply for the wear, carry, transport permit. So it doesn't allow anyone to circumvent the training process. It just simply says, look, I've been cleared, I've been vetted, I get the okay from the state police before I attend the training. It just makes sense in terms of spending money if you're not going to get approved in the first place. So there are no committee amendments. I'd move adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 309 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 312, Motor Vehicle Registration, Exception for Golf Carts, Hoovers Island and Taylor's Island. Senator Eckhart, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 29th District as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had a bill very similar to this last year. It passed this body. This is simply a golf cart being able to be driven with approved lighting on certain highways on Hoopers Island and Taylor's Island in Dorchester County. This gives the County Council of Dorchester County the opportunity to designate these highways. This just brings in line with what we have in Allegheny County, Garrett County, St. Mary's County, Dorchester County, and Somerset County. There were no amendments. I move for adoption of a favorable report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Only in JPR do we get child abuse, platooning, and golf carts in the same day. All right, if there's no further discussion, questions on the report, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 312 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Thank you, JPR. 3 full calendars. All right, let's go to Finance, report number 1. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 86, Correctional Education, Changes to Mandatory Education Requirements, favorable.
Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 86 is a departmental bill that increases to 240 days the minimum number of days that an inmate must participate in the mandatory education program to obtain a GED or high school diploma. We passed an identical bill, identical to this one, just last session. In most cases, inmates without a GED or a high school diploma must take classes to obtain either. Once the current limit of 120 days passes, there is no requirement currently that an inmate continue with the education. The bill conforms the state standard with the standard for federal prisons. There are no amendments, no fiscal impact. There was no opposition to the committee hearing. Move adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 86 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 106, Licensing, Good Standing with the State Department of Assessments and Taxation Requirement, favorable with one amendment.
Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of the committee.
Senate Bill 106 is a department bill that requires state agencies, boards, and commissions that issue occupational or professional licenses to operate facilities or programs to verify that these applicants are in good standing with the State Department of Assessments and Taxation prior to renewing or issuing a license. The focus is on licenses issued by the state departments of labor, environment, health, natural resources, transportation, and the comptroller's office. Generally, most businesses currently must file a report with SDAT on their personal property, similar to verifying whether state taxes are paid. The agencies will now also be required to verify that businesses file their personal property report to be licensed to operate in Maryland. The amendment is clarifying in nature, Mr. President. There was no opposition to the committee hearing, and I move the amendment and the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of one committee amendment and the favorable committee report. Question first is on the amendment. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amended report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 106 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 110, Private Passenger Motor Vehicle Liability Insurance, Notices, Alterations of Requirements, favorable.
Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of the Committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 110 is a departmental bill, repeals the requirement that a motor vehicle liability insurer send any cancellation and non-renewal notice to an insured in triplicate and send any premium increase notice to insurer in duplicate. Instead, only a single copy of the notices must be sent to an insured. There were no amendments, no fiscal impact, no opposition to the committee hearing. I move adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 110 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 206, State Collection Agency Licensing Board, Sunset Extension, favorable.
Chair recognizes the Vice Chair as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 206, a departmental bill, extends the termination date for the State Collection Agency Licensing Board within the Office of the Commissioner of Financial Regulation by 10 years to July 1st, 2032. There were no amendments, no fiscal impact, no opposition at the committee hearing. Move adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 206 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 281, Office of the Commissioner of Financial Regulation, Sunset Extension, favorable.
Chair recognizes the Vice Chair as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 281, a departmental bill, extends the termination date for the Office of the Commissioner of Financial Regulation within the Maryland Department of Labor by 10 years, July 1, 2032. There were no amendments, no fiscal impact, no opposition to the committee hearing. I move adoption of the favorable committee report, Mr. President.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 281 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. All right, Senators, the desk is clear. Let's do committee announcements, and we have a couple administrative announcements. And actually, before we jump into announcements, can we give a quick round of applause to our member of the press from the Daily Record who is here? It appears to be the only member of the media who is fighting through with us, so thank you to Mr. Sears for being that fourth estate. All right, Chair recognizes the Chair of Finance as for announcements.
I'm simply reporting, colleagues, that we'll be having bill hearings today, tomorrow, and Thursday at 1 p.m., and we'll be voting on Friday at 11 a.m.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chair recognizes the Chair of Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. The committee is moving into deeper waters this week. An important bill about Chesapeake Bay from the Chair of Budget and Tax, resiliency, as well as climate change. And now I've mentioned climate change. 4 years ago, ladies and gentlemen, the legislature passed a bill called the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Act that called for a climate change plan to be submitted to this body. It was due at the end of the year, December 31st. Unfortunately, I'm not talking about 2020, I'm talking about 2019. So by my calculation, we are 1 year and 26 days late. Now, I'm not sure if that speaks to the urgency that the administration feels, but over a year late is an embarrassment when we have such a significant situation with flooding, with saltwater intrusion on the Eastern Shore. So I will keep you alert on the number of days it takes for this to get done. And I've been told that the last 3 or 4 months they're doing some rewrites, and my understanding is they're taking some ideas from the Climate Solutions Bill. And I appreciate that invitation is a sincere form of flattery, but the urgency should overwhelm anything here. So I will keep you up to date. Our committee this week will be meeting at 1 o'clock for hearings today. Tomorrow we have hearings at 11, 1:30, and followed by a voting session. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chair recognizes the Chair of Budget and Taxation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today we have hearings at 1, tomorrow hearings at 1, and Thursday we have voting at 11. This is actually a big week for budget and tax. It's also, quite frankly, a big week for all of us. Today we're going to be taking up COVID relief. I know that everyone is interested in the governor's bill and how we'll be reacting and dealing with that, and we're going to be doing it with urgency. So this is an important week, and look forward to working with you all to get this product out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to all members of Budget and Tax. This is going to be a dynamic year with federal and state and trying to make it all work. So we are very, very thankful. Chair recognizes the Chair of Judicial Proceedings.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, the Judicial Proceedings Committee will be meeting for bill hearings at 1 o'clock. Tomorrow, we'll meet for bill hearings at 11, followed by a voting session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Other standing committee or delegation announcements? Does not appear so. All right, couple administrative announcements. First, remember, senators, mask has to be above nose and mouth for the duration, which, please use the wired net masks. I know it can be a pain, but this is the world we're living in, so let's keep each other safe. Another administrative announcement, and we'll send out a message about this as well. At the testing site, please remember to bring your state IDs so that the testing folks can sign you in with your state ID. So there will be an email reminder going out, and that's for members and staff who are part of our testing protocol. Just please remember to bring your state IDs. And then one final announcement, which is not administrative but more substantive, and sort of a chair's privilege here. We've had a lot of competing conversations about the reopening of schools. And this is a really emotional moment and time. A lot of people are very scared. People are looking for guidance and stability. In my mind, it seems very clear that the sooner we can get kids back, the better, but also we have to do it safely. And we have to be very thoughtful as we approach this. And so we've seen competing letters and press conferences. I would just urge, as we think about our public statements as public officials, to really be thoughtful about the stakes and what's at hand. This is a very, very difficult time, and it all will come back down to whether we can get our vaccinations out as efficiently as possible. And so just would urge members to really think, and this afternoon I know the governor will be giving a press conference. We just hope that that reasonable heads will prevail so that we can follow a clear plan with clear guidance and clear support so that everyone can benefit, because parents are nervous, teachers are nervous, society is nervous. And so just urge that we exercise the level of thoughtful, productive conversation that will get us to a better place in this really, really uncertain time. So with that, any further announcements before we go to a quorum call? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their presence in the chamber? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 46 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate of Maryland adjourn until Friday, January 29th at 12 p.m.
Without objection, so ordered. Stay safe, wear your mask, get a vaccine.